Yeah,
I don't remember. I don't, because it came under the industrial authority. Why would they make the industrial authority? I'll check on that, but I don't remember making any checks to Luzerne County. Well, yeah, we got exonerated. Well, that's different. That's county. That's county.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, that when you have a government property that's leasing it to a private individual, it doesn't automatically become taxable.
It gets a little tricky, yeah. It gets a little tricky, but
actually, the Dice Rose Building's a prime example.
We're gonna check into it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other? Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Rabo, First Street, Hazleton. I'm up here with regards to the resolution on the sale of the tax claims, City of Hazleton. In my capacity as member of the board of the Redevelopment Authority for Luzerne County, there was a special meeting, as I said about a couple months ago to you, on April 7th, 2014, with regards to a motion by the Redevelopment Authority to amend the agreement between the County Redevelopment Authority and the City of Hazleton for the, there was a motion to adopt Resolution 1 of 2014 to amend Resolution number 4 of 2013 of the Redevelopment Authority to purchase the 2013, to purchase 2013 tax claims from the City of Hazleton in exchange for an estimated amount not to exceed that fiscal year's real estate settlement amount currently estimated at $700,000, and or after January 1st of 2015 to purchase the anticipated 2014 tax claims from the city in exchange for an estimated similar amount not to exceed that fiscal year's real estate tax settlement amount, and on or after January 1st, 2016 to purchase the anticipated 2015 tax claims from the city in exchange for a similar estimated amount not to exceed that fiscal year's real estate tax settlement amount, and such purchase and sales agreement for that acquisition of such tax claims shall be in the form as approved by the authority's chairman and legal counsel. Now, I asked this council about 3 months ago, were you informed of the amount, the change in the amount of the amended in the original agreement to this new agreement? Has that changed, or has the city's administration informed you, or the city solicitor informed you of that?
No, not yet. Right?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't heard anything. I mean, I did file a right to know with the county, and I got all the information on it. Okay. But
now, what I would like to know is, as a city taxpayer, is that money going to be reflected in either this year's budget? I know you guys have the council has a legal challenge with the administration, but what about the 2015 budget? Would that be is that going to be reflected?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do that, Mark. We're going to get whatever.
Okay.
Are there? I mean,
yeah.
they have to go into the budget.
All right. Now, my question is, where's that money going to go? Like, is it going to go? I mean, the mayor wants to increase property taxes for police in the amount of $1 million. So I'm thinking, maybe this is a far-out idea. Take that $700,000 and put it towards the police that he wants to hire. And before anybody says that it's going to be a one-time thing, this resolution says it's going to be for at least 2 years. So we'll at least have 2 years of this money coming in. So maybe it's not such a far-fetched idea to put that money, it'll pay out, what, 2/3, a little more than 2/3 for hiring new cops. So then what do we have to do? Come up with another, what, 300,000?
Well, we'll make that suggestion, Mark. Yeah, we'll suggest that to him.
I think the numbers are wrong.
How do you figure, Jeff?
Because if you look at what came down, it started out at 700. I'm trying to upload it here. You don't have a copy of it on you, do you?
I have it on my pad. I'll get it, but
It was 700 and some thousand. Then they took out.
for the fees,
And
for
it
the
went-
solicitor fees, and
Above that, it went down to 400 because we got.
it was like 500.
407,000 of it.
Well, actually, you guys, the city got $400,000, but then they were expecting another installment. So, the tax revenue service, Northeast Revenue, signed off on 596. That was their number, 596,000.
The 596 was our actual delinquent taxes from 2013. And out of this, say, roughly 600,000 is where the 407 comes down. They take the redevelopment authority takes 10% of it.
Yes.
We had, I believe there was $45,000 in administration fees. Then there was another 11,000, I believe, that went into a reserve fund. And it came down, I believe it came out to 407. And that's what Tom has in the budget. Now, out of that 407, it should be reallocated. 69% should go to general fund, 22% should go to debt service, and 2%, I believe 2% goes to recreation. But I don't think the 700,000. I think what the special meeting was for was they combined the outstanding 2011s, 2012s, and they put it into one larger sum.
But then why did they say that there was a second installment? I have the paperwork, it's on my tab, but it says that there's a second installment. So, am I to say, or is for the resolution tonight, is that saying that the second installment was received? That's what I'm trying to find.
The resolution tonight just deals with 2014 delinquent taxes.
Okay, so does that mean that the city has received the total funds from that, or is going to receive
Get
that?
word from that yet. We didn't hear about that, Jeff.
I believe the total funds are the 407.
Well, I'm going to go check my pad right now, and if I'll see about that, but I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more, and I know there's an installment that they said that the city was supposed to receive a second installment. All right?
We'll have to
Thank
check
you
to
very
see if
much.
we got it.
Thanks.
Thank
Mark.
you.
Any other questions on the agenda? Let's move on to old business, ordinances none, resolutions. The first resolution 2014-110, granting the approval to award a contract for a cell phone payment system for parking, Pango Mobile Parking. It was tabled on 10/21/14. Is there a motion?
Motion to take it off the table.
I'll second it so we can talk about it.
On the motion to take it off the table?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
No,
Sosar,
No.
Mundy.
No. It dies. Next is new business, ordinances none. Resolution 2014-112, sale of 2014 tax claims.
I'll present.
Second, on the question?
It's something I don't think we should sell. We were against it last year, and they convinced us to sell them because we were in such dire need of money. But I think the city benefits by not selling.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff, but we could table this and check with
Bobola, we need to find out.
the city administrator to see if they could stand waiting. The thing about selling our delinquents is we get the money now, and we get a bigger chunk now, and they take a bigger chunk. If we don't sell them, we get a smaller piece now and get it in slowly in the next, year?
It's
over the year.
Over 18 months.
18 months.
We'll collect 99% of it.
They collect it, but it
It's-
just takes a long time.
It's-
And meanwhile, the city has bills to pay, and that's why we've done it in the past.
Well, I mean, if the mayor put out his budget and says that he could move 2014 monies into 2015s, then we shouldn't, that's
Okay.
like saying we're not in a hurry to get this. So it's six,
Get numbers from.
Yeah, it's
comparable and-
67,000.
Yeah,
see if can do this.
we should talk to him and maybe get some numbers from him. But you want to make a motion to table it?
I'll move to table it.
I'll second it.
okay.
On the motion to table?
Bast,
No.
Cassatt,
No.
Mope,
Yes,
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2014-113, authorization to execute a lease agreement between the City of Hazleton and DHD Realty Holding, LLC.
I'll present it.
I'll second.
On the question?
On the question,
Aye.
there are, first of all, and we've run into a problem in checking. Lisa, I think you sent on a new copy on out to people. The one I had been reading actually was an older draft that still had the parking authority in it. Now I see that the parking authority actually.
Did you send the
has
new
been
one out,
removed.
Lisa?
I'm sorry?
Did you send the new lease out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one had like 3 signatures at the end, and the parking authority was involved in it. One of the things that I think a lot of people are concerned about yet are the rental spaces, the value of them, the ability to raise the price. This is at a $30 per month, but it's over the 10-year time period. Prices go up over time, and we're not even working in the cost of the cost of living
and
into this.
And Dee brought up a very good point. We're not sure what the taxes.
So, yeah, we
That
have,
may very well be something that we have
Talk
to
to
check on
Chris.
as well.
yeah, there was just 2 things, and hopefully they're minor, and we can get them ironed out, but we really passed this exact contract except for the parking authority previously.
Yeah.
Just to let you
Yeah.
know.
No, I know, and we had tried to talk
Yeah.
about that in past times.
Yeah.
In fact, we had tried to get some additional parking for people within the city in that parking authority, and I think that we succeeded in coming up with a fairly good compromise. But there are still a few things in here as far as taxes and as far as the possibility of cost of living and so forth that may still really want to be taken a look at.
Okay.
And that's the only thing, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
well
that I'm
then,
talking about. That's all.
You have a comment, Jeff?
Yeah, there was one thing that I think needs to be adjusted here, and I talked to Neil 2 and 3 before we came in, but on the bottom of the resolution here, it says that they're going to rent the entire top floor of the parking garage. They are indeed for the entire parking garage and the Mine Street strip. So they said if we could make that amendment to see what to be it further resolved.
I have a question as far as the entire top. After looking at the bridge that's going across there, it seems to be hanging in midair. Is there another floor going to be
No,
put?
they have to lower it. They made a mistake. It was 18 inches. I was at Friday, I was there and got a quick tour, and it's 18 inches out of sync. They have to correct it, which is going to cost a lot of money.
Because it appears that they need another floor to
Yeah,
attach
it's
the
impressive.
bridge.
It's amazing. I mean, I remember when I was on the water authority, we saved the Northeastern building, and there were renditions of a bridge doing that, going there, and that was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but now it's a reality. But they built the bridge, and it's 18 inches too high. So they have to lift up the bridge and cut it and lower it. It's going to cost it's huge. But,
I can't imagine.
okay, any other questions? You want to make a motion
I'll
to
make a
table?
motion.
Let's
on the
table
table.
this for now till we get a couple
Second.
questions.
But there's no rush. They're not going in there right away, Jeff. He didn't say that
He said he would like to get it done.
right away. But they're not, the parking garage isn't done yet.
But I think once we sign this, he's going to pay us even if they're not in there. That's the way he.
So we can get revenue. So at the next meeting,
if we pass it,
we should iron out.
Yeah, I believe it says in there November 1st that they would take over. So if we pass it, they sign it, we get money for
This month.
November.
Yeah.
Even though it's unusable.
Okay,
That's
Even though they're not using it.
that's useful.
that's.
Okay.
You do have a motion on the table.
Dave, you motion the table?
Yes.
You seconded it.
I'll second it. On the motion the table.
Bast,
No.
Cassatt,
No.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next, Resolution 2014-114, a resolution exempting a veteran from the real estate taxes for the year 2014.
Present.
I'll second.
On the question? I think a lot of veterans don't know that the program exists where it's a program, even with the county, that you could be exempt
With disability.
from, you have to have a disability, you're exempt from property taxes. I think all three, but it's, a lot of even disabled veterans aren't aware of it. Maybe,
Jeff.
Sam,
Or Sam.
you could maybe point that out to a lot of veterans who aren't taking advantage of that. I mean, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of veterans who don't know, and maybe some do it because they want to pay taxes. I don't know.
Greg, that's a story for your station, Joe.
Yeah,
When
you
when
might
do
want
the
to
news tonight.
make
if you
people
could.
aware that if you're a disabled veteran, the county has a program. You have to go through the county, I think, and apply to them
I'll see if you qualify.
through the veterans division, and you could be exempt from taxes, from property taxes. Okay, roll call.
I'm sorry, who presented that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Seconded.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. Next is Resolution 2014-115, authorizing the Director of Administration to adjust the records, refunds 2009 to 13 city real estate taxes.
I'll present.
Second. On the question? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes. That's it for resolutions. Comments from the audience? Go ahead.
Norman Tarantino, Lee Court, Hazleton. First question I want to bring up to council. Do you realize that there are now 2 hookah bars in the city? There was a shooting involving 5 shots on the one that used to be at Smith Floral on Broad Street. There's also one I was informed of yesterday at 35 East Diamond Avenue, and that the police officer, the detective I talked to was watching, and people were coming in and out of this place at 4 o'clock in the morning because they were already watching it for activities up on Diamond Avenue. Now I want to know, is there any type of ordinance or something, or I would ask council respectfully to the next meeting to make an ordinance that these after-hour clubs have to close by a certain time, and see about controlling what clubs can be LCB, because these clubs do not have any liquor license. People are bringing in liquor, and I own my own water pipe. I've had smoked a hookah from time to time, and it's a great thing that you can enjoy in your home. But I just think that this is just more accidents waiting to happen. We already had a shooting at one was open list.
We're going to have the chief check into that and see what we could do. But
Yeah, there's no controls for after-hours clubs or anything at this point in time in the city?
well, the
Don't have one.
LCB regulates that you close at 2 when you're a bar, but
They have no control over.
as far as what,
They have no control over BYOBs on time restraints.
Yes,
I
so that's
think
why
it's
it'd be,
something-
if the city should at least put a closure for like 2:30 or 3 o'clock, so these things would be.
We're gonna have the chief look into that.
To see- we have to see
I
where
talked
we
to
stand
Tara.
legally
We were
with
talking
that.
to Tara yesterday about that, and nobody so far in the state has anything that regulates the time.
The only thing
I
that
was looking
really
for
at this
sample
point-
ordinances.
I'm sorry.
I said, we were talking about anybody had a sample ordinance to even look into it, and nothing
Well,
exists.
we'll have the chief look
The
into
only-
it and make a recommendation.
The only
Go
thing
ahead.
I was going to say is that unless you can prove right now, without the other ordinances that are in place, a nuisance bar, a nuisance establishment, then you have at least some kind of effort and force that you can utilize behind it. Again, I think we would even have to check with the solicitor that we have in Hazleton a nuisance ordinance that would deal with establishments.
Well, you
But
said
that would be much more so a bar, I guess, first
You said the
and
police were
foremost.
aware of it and they've been watching, keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
So evidently, they're doing their job. They just have to
Well,
accumulate
what kind of
their-
license were originally issued to these places to operate? What are they operating under? There should have been a license, or who from the city even gave them
Well,
permission to start?
they probably have permits, business permit to open, but any business, like, when I was downtown, I was up till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I was, in my accounting office, I was downtown.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you start closing certain businesses down, and, I don't know, there's a constitutional right there for people,
Well, the other thing, look at, if there is, one of the things that the city could also consider, if they have a BYOB type establishment, the city could incur a corkage fee that for every bottle that's open in that place, a fee would have to be paid to the city. So that's also something that the city could look at as a way to also get some revenue to help police these type of operations.
we're going to talk to the chief and talk to him and see what we could do about it.
And the other thing is, the last point about it is the health. What is, I'm a cigar smoker myself, but is there some type of ventilation? Is there the proper ventilation for exhaust in these establishments? And how do they fit in with the state non-smoking regulations? I think that's a question that needs to be addressed. Are they even set up safely that people can be in that environment with all the smoke coming out of the pipes?
That's the Department of Health regulations.
Yeah, that's something, we'll look into that, Norman. Thank you.
No problem. And one other thing, the next issue I want to bring up was the trailer has not been addressed yet at Wyoming and Tamarack Street. That's still there. And I saw an extension cord running from the building that is located, as you will be looking at the trailers to the left-hand side, and there's a yellow extension cord powering it going into that building. That's even a safety concern that this cord is laying out there powering this building. I mean, that needs to be addressed, because a trailer sitting there should not be considered a food truck or a mobile operation.
Yeah, the chief, we're working with that with the chief.
Yeah. And the other thing is, we're looking at the mayor's proposed budget. We're looking at a tax increase of 26% or something like that. And when you add the county's 4%, that means people's taxes will be going up 30%. And we need to do something that people cannot afford the two taxes going up this loudly.
You're right, Norman. Probably at the end, I'm going to address some things and say some things. We don't agree with the mayor, with his budget. We have some disagreements. We realize we need more police. I think collectively at the council, we're more interested in hiring part-time people. And I'm going to be talking with the people at the HCA. We have an agreement with them where we could sell some of their land that isn't water authority land and maybe get some revenue. And there's an agreement in there. We can go into some business with them and bring some revenue into the city and maybe possibly pay for some of the part-time police. But
yeah. Also, as you were talking to me yesterday, you said there was an old resolution to try to utilize the state constables. We are trained. We have our own insurance. If you could possibly bring that resolution back up, maybe have
that's something that we looked at a couple of years ago, and myself and Gabus voted yes, and I was voted no. Was voted down.
I brought it up.
Yeah,
I was at the
it wasn't. It's
podium.
not a bad idea for them to do, for you guys to do certain things. You're a constable.
Yes, exactly.
And
that's why I worked out yesterday at the polling. Last point I want to make up is I think the other thing that needs to be done to get revenue for the city needs to sell the airport and stop putting money into it. I mean, I still am upset that the city had to buy a hangar and then lease the hangar back to Hazleton, the hospital, for their helicopters. The city should not be in the real estate business, and that's the whole thing that needs to be addressed. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It was always an honor to talk to you guys.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah. Jeff, you're talking about the 407 number. The 407 number is from the sale and purchase agreement for January 1st, 2014. Sale proceeds to be dispersed to City of Hazleton, Luzerne County, $407,401.30. Disbursement detail, which was the $401,000 I spoke of. The reserve is $11,344.94 or 95 cents. Fees to be distributed to Metro Bank, $8,652.46, and the fees to be dispersed to Municipal Revenue Service account, $37,847.54. Total of disbursements, current drawdown is $465,246.25.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are the numbers that,
That's so 407 of it comes to the city.
yeah, and
The 11,000 goes to our reserve,
yeah,
and the other 35. Did you say 35,000? It was.
yes,
That's the part that comes out of the 10%.
yes.
That's
Now, you brought up, or either it was you or the chief who brought up about the civil, was it the civil service? This was a couple months ago, with regards to positions for the civil service board. Or who was it? It was on the council. Either a member of council or was it the chief that said about the members of the board for the appointments for vacancies?
Oh, when you were talking about vacancies, board vacancies, Jeff.
Board
Okay.
vacancies, okay.
board vacancies. Okay.
Now, on the amended, or on the reenacted third-class city code, under section 4403.1, for the civil service, this is a new provision that alternate board members, council may appoint alternate board members, they may appoint no more than 3 qualified alternates to the civil service board. The term of office of the alternate members shall be 4 years. And if there's a reason of absence or disqualification of a member, the quorum is not reached. The chairperson shall designate as many alternate members of the board to sit on the board as may be needed to provide a quorum. And also, another provision is a new one that section 4403.2, investigations and subpoenas. The board shall have the power to make investigations concerning all matters relating to the administration and enforcement of its rules and regulations. And under subpart B, the board shall have the power to issue subpoenas over the signature of the chairperson or designee and to require the attendance of witnesses and production of records and papers pertaining to the matters before the board, including any background investigation conducted pursuant to any applicable rules and regulations. So that was one. And I asked a couple weeks ago with regards to the community development funds, the line items that I thought were, quite frankly, a sick joke. In the light of, if there's any ways to amend that, would you be able, as a council, you can ask HUD to amend those amounts in the event of it needs to be amended. Like, say, for example, there's another McKinley Street problem that happens down the road, and you need more than $6,000 for demolitions. And I was going to ask Fallon the question, but I came in late that time about the amount for renovations and remediation in the line item for CD, $244,000. Is there any way to get an assessment done for that? Because under the reenacted third-class city code, under the new article for assessments for public improvements, I'm sorry, my Roman numerals are, it's XLV-A, so I know X is a 10. So LV, I don't know about that. So it's under section 4501-A, authority to assess. Under subpart A, in cases of which one or more properties are benefited from a public improvement unless otherwise provided for in this act, a city shall be authorized to assess and provide in this article all or any portion of the costs of the public improvement, including any administrative fees against those properties that are benefited by the public improvement. And it also says that the method of assessment in an ordinance, in any case which a council elects to exercise the power to make assessments for a given improvement as authorized in section 4105-A, it shall be by ordinance and in conformity with this article, establish the ordinance and in conformity with this article, the method and procedure pursuant to which assessments shall be made. So you guys can determine what projects for the CD need to be assessed. If you know, you guys can make create an ordinance that says, this property or whatever properties the administration deems necessary to remediate or revitalize, that there be an assessment done, and the guide is given in the provision in the third class city code for public improvements.
Send me that, Mark. So
Yes.
email that to me.
Yes, I will do that. And also for the recreation board, first the pensions, because that's important stuff, the pensions. Under the reenacted third class city code for pensions, there's a couple of provisions in there that was not, I guess, known to the chief or the councilman. Jeff brought up before about the pensions, either was it a couple weeks ago or the meeting before that, about the funding, how much the city had to match. Well, it says in section 4305, payments to the police pension. The fund by the city, unless otherwise required by the act of December 18th, 1984, known as the Municipal Pension Plan Funding Standard and Recovery Act, or by any provision of law, this section shall govern the payment to the police pension fund of monies raised by the taxes levied by a city. And it lists two subparts here, but it's saying that under part one, a city shall pay annually, constituting of having in charge of the distribution of police pension funds in every city, a police pension fund, a sum money sufficient to meet the requirements to maintain such police pension, the fund which sum in no year shall be less than 1/2 of 1% or more than 3% of all city taxes levied by the city, other than the taxes levied to pay interest on or extinguish the debt of the city or any part thereof. Now, also, the management of the pension fund, only the persons designated in accordance with section 4301B, subpart 2, shall be authorized to make decisions to hold, receive, and distribute the monies of the police pension fund. So what I'm asking is, with regards to the police pensions, is the monies designated in the allocation amounts for the percentages? I mean, Jeff, I thought you said like it has to be a full match, because it says in the reenacted third class city code it could be whatever percentage that falls in the 1.5 to 3% range.
I think that's negotiated in their union contract, Mark, but we'll check into it.
Yeah, but under the reenacted third class city code, that's what the guideline is. It doesn't have to be, the maximum amount. It could be within those parameters that are set by state statute. So
yeah, we'll check into that and let you know.
Okay, I was going to discuss the Parks and Recreation Board, but I'll send that to you. All right, thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say, the third class, the Act 90 provision regarding out-of-state landlords has been amended. It was signed into law last week by the governor. It now allows for the property managers and or agents that are
Penalized.
that they would be held accountable, that they can be subject to extradition and face criminal charges. All right, thanks.
Thanks. Send that to me, Mark.
Yeah, I
Thank you, Mark.
think I have it.
Go ahead, Judy.
Judy Urcho, Hazleton. I'll make it short and sweet because I had a long day too. See the mayor's got his budget out for next year and they want 10 new police officers, and that would be all well and good if it wouldn't bankrupt the city probably in 5 years because of the pensions and everything else that would be going on with that. We can't afford any more taxes. We really can't. I mean, yesterday was election day, and I was doing a lot of reflecting on, like, when we first got this country going, when they decided to put taxes on us, which we came over here to get rid of, it was supposed to help us, not hurt us. And it seems like the mayor just wants to keep hurting us as far as the city. I agree that we do need probably more police officers, but like, you can't tell me that getting 10 more is going to guarantee us a safer community. It's not. I hate to put it that way, but it's not. We have to get rid of some of the stuff that's going on before we can, say, oh yeah, we're going to have this wonderful city now, and the police officers are going to come in and they're not supermen. We have to get rid of the drugs that are going on. We have to get rid of the properties that are falling apart. We have to go after the people that aren't paying their taxes. We have to go after the landlords that are being slumlords and making our town look like a ghetto. I mean, that's what we need to do. And if we start doing that, I mean, nobody's taking pride. I went up my mom's today. I was cleaning up her yard and everything. She has one house on one side and one house on the other side, and it looks like a pigsty. They have a rug sitting out on their, and I said, what is that? Because they have a driveway and then they have a rug because they wanted more of a driveway into the yard. And my mom said, that's been there 3 years. It's ridiculous. It's the house next door, their weeds are this high. There's 2 cars parked in the backyard. They took the fence down so they could park in their yard. This is what, if code enforcement would go around and actually find some of these people, we'd have some revenue. Give me the tablet. I will do it for nothing. I mean, it's ridiculous. But you can't keep taxing us. I get taxed anymore. I'm not going to be in my house. I will have to sell. And if I sell, I'm out of here. And I like my home a lot. So, this is what you guys got to look at. His budget, he is so out of touch with the people that live in the city. I talk to people all the time. They're like, this is crazy. Where are we supposed to get the money for this? And it's like not just the 10 police officers that we're going to be paying for, but we have the pensions on top of it. And we have all old people that live in, well, not all of us, but, there's a good majority of senior citizens. They're going to get out of their homes. And then their homes are going to get reassessed. And then the city's not going to get as much revenue as they thought they were going to have. Because, right now I would tell everybody to go out and reassess their house because it's not worth the money that you paid for it or what you think it's worth or what you're paying taxes on. And that'd bankrupt the city right now. So please, when you're looking at the budget, and I find it comical that we're looking at 2015 and we still haven't settled 2014 as far as the budget, but when you're looking at the budget, consider the people that are paying the taxes, the people who have their homes, who want to stay here. Because I do. I get very upset when I see on Facebook that somebody said, Hazleton's scum. They should burn the city down. Bombs should There's a lot of good people in this town of all walks of life. So that upsets me when I hear that. So I want to keep my home, and I want to make sure that I'm proud homeowner and that I have something to be proud of in this town. So consider that, like I said, when you go over the budget. And one more thing. Down on 20th Street, there is 2 sections, one right in front of my mom's house and down by Peace Street. So we're looking at by James and Peace. There's a chunk of the road that must be about that big out. that come winter, it's just going to get worse. So,
Well, we got a new machine, an asphalt machine that can work in the winter. So
Okay.
hopefully they have it out and running. I know it's been out twice so far, but the reason we purchased it was so that it could run.
I will inform
yeah, there's like, I mean,
Mr. Vito about that. I will
there's
tell
a big patch. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I was like, this is just going to get progressively
Yeah.
worse.
Well, I'll call Frankie, definitely.
Thank you very much.
you can get the
Have a
machine
good
out.
night, guys.
Thank you.
Good night. Thanks, Judy.
Sylvia, you can go, Sylvia.
All-American City. Sylvia Thomas from Hazleton. I got so upset when I saw that in the paper, considering what our city is like. But another thing that got me upset on the paper was when our mayor said he never told the solicitor not to sit at that table. I found that very hard to swallow. Because if he didn't tell him, he could have made him sit there, couldn't he?
Yes.
He's his boss.
You're right.
He could make him do something or fire him.
He told the solicitor and the administrator not to come to the meetings, and I
But
know that.
I cut people articles out of the paper, and
No,
I keep the
Sylvia, you're
and I'm going to
correct.
keep that one too, because
that's what
I'm
he
going to
said.
find out from David what we can do about this mayor, because we cannot take another year of him. Well, that's a petition, I hope, but I don't know. I've been doing research on it, and
I know,
we have
Sylvia.
to neglect.
Sylvia, I know that but and it's more symbolic than anything, but I
Yeah.
do believe that something has to be done.
But if you do you have to get 2/3 of the state senate
No.
to vote on them?
No, I'm going to get as many as I can.
No, I mean,
And I
is
ask
that-
people
is
to
that the
spread them
law,
around,
David?
too.
Is that the law to impeach a mayor? You have
No,
to
you
get
can't.
two.
You can't.
Yeah.
Literally, you can't. Again, there are most roadblocks in our way from being able to do anything about it. I understand your frustration, and I'm sure that at this
It's
point you
terrible.
understand ours. But
And you hear
we
people
can at
like
least
Judy,
leave a legacy.
and that she's saying the truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm selling my house, not because I want to, but it's not all financial. But I can't do it financially, and I can't do it physically. And then when I read in the paper 26% for next year, and I think of the year after, and I think, oh my God, I'm paying all this money for what? To live in a slum. That's what it's turning into. And we need help. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Go ahead.
John Maniszewski, I guess you all know me. I'm here with an issue that could turn into a serious issue. You know, I don't come here with bullshit. I inherited my house officially on March 1st this year, so I'm putting money into it. So I start putting some work into it. I come down City Hall, I get a permit. My roof needs shingles and a new door. This is the beginning of the month. October 14th, I come out, I have no idea what the commotion's. She's arguing with somebody. They put a hit on me, your buddy Mike, whoever it is, with the zoning office. Ticket written out and everything. All right, well, I had a permit for this. This girl is insistent that I didn't have a permit. All right? I'm going to tell you this right now. I did go see my lawyer. We had a long talk over this. About 24 people have come to me on this. We're looking at a serious lawsuit here. It's this violation of our Civil Rights Act of 1983, not harassment. They're sitting in front of people's houses. Now, I asked this man, Mike, one time, which is supposed to be head of our zoning, taking money for doing nothing, about I had a cat problem. You know what I was told? Handle it yourself. I did handle it myself. Now, it gets a little better. A woman, not all of you, but a few of you know her very well. She's prominent, wealthy lady, but she don't look it. She asked him a question. You know what he told her? The same thing. You know what the quote was? Instead of him standing in front of Turkey Hill for hours at a time looking like the poster child for pretty boys, do something. Just like this lady said, okay? Instead of looking after people for us that are trying to improve, go after the ones that there's a wreck. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
I mean, you have a ticket made out for me. As a matter of fact, my lawyer told me to request that ticket. I have a right to that ticket.
What's that, John?
I have a right to that ticket. My lawyer told me to ask for that. I have a right for that ticket.
Request the ticket.
I would request that ticket.
What do you mean request a ticket? I don't
Request a
understand.
ticket that was written out with my name in it. It has to be voided because there has to be a number before it. And another thing, these girls that are running around, has anybody done a background check on them?
Which girls?
They're running around like tyrants with the zoning, with the car.
Oh, you mean the workers?
They're intimidating people sitting in front of houses. I mean, this is violation. You have any idea what's going on out there?
Well, John, you're the first one that came up to complain, but we'll check it out.
It's not checking out because if, I'm going to tell you what, the lawyer I have, there's these people, if we go into it, I'm going to let them use the lawyer. It's not going to be dilly-dally, and we don't need that right now, and you know we don't.
I know, John.
I mean, thank you for the town. I mean, I got my life threatened, too, if you never realized or heard it. Literally, 2 days later, the cops picked them up with guns in the car. You know, if somebody would listen, too, with this thing with the police, there's a call the thing per diem, okay? Everybody's after these 10 cops all of a sudden. This is logical, and it would work. It's a plan. You hire cops, you can probably put 10, 14 cops on the road all the time. It's called per diem. You pay them 100, 150 a week, depending on experience, all right? It ties into the union, FOP. They pay you dues. They sign a contract when they come in. You're not guaranteed no job with the city. You're working part-time. If anybody understands what I'm saying. Now, at the same point, it's a union job. They got to pay partial union too. This works in plants and everywhere else. Why can't it work here?
Well, we'll suggest that to the mayor. Yeah.
Yes.
We will.
Overtime, tons of overtime. Won't this sort of take some of the overtime away? You get 14 cars on the road handling troops with the traffic and everything else where your money is. Now we have 38 cops that could be out there doing what they know how to be done.
Yeah, that's what we were
And
talking
this
about.
is also signed with the contract. You're not guaranteed anything. You're coming in. But we don't need the Eastwoods out there. You follow me? Because right now, the way it is, we have Boss Hogg for mayor, we need Andy Taylor, and Barney Fife for chief of police. Don't laugh, it's the truth.
Okay, John. Okay, John. Stay at the podium and speak in the mic, please.
I mean, seriously, I mean, you understand this. This is
Okay.
not funny.
Okay, John.
I mean, I've
okay.
seen things the
Okay,
way...
come on. Go
I've
ahead.
seen
Finish,
things
John.
in this town, though, how they take you out with a knife in you. Children forcibly taken away from parents. The man shot 10 minutes after talking to me and playing with my dogs, okay? You have no idea what I've been through. I wasn't raised this way. I was born and raised in a middle-class Catholic family. This is crime. Sylvia's right.
Okay.
You have no idea. It's not okay. None of you are experiencing any of this. Sleeping in the middle of the night, bang, bang, bang. You're probably the only one that understands what I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
To the rest of
okay.
you, this is bullshit.
Okay,
John's
John.
betting himself.
Okay. Watch your language, John.
John,
Watch your language.
we have begun to investigate.
Investigate what?
No, please, hear me out. We have been looking into, because we understand the problem with the police. We understand, and I think there's a general consensus here that while there is a need, there is not an ability to pay for 10 full-time police officers.
That's what I'm saying.
And we understand that. So you've got to, I mean, we've been given a budget. Now we've got to start exercising it. It's a give and take. We are not, however, we understand the need for police, but we've got to work with what we've got and what we can afford.
That too,
And
Dave. You know that.
that's a part of it. So I want you to know that we are attentive to your needs. And when you're talking about other things about what you've just mentioned in ticketing, first of all, my question to you would be, although I've seen situations like this, and I'm going to let my other council members aware of that, but I saw a situation where we've got some people right now that literally have become squatters in a location close to me, to a point where they've broken windows and they've utilized everything, and now it's getting to a point where they can't be thrown out because it's getting close to the wintertime. And there's all kinds of problems. There's destruction. Police are there. You know what? Again, people think I joke about it. I have 911 on my speed dial because of it. John, we get to a point where the police have been there at least 4 times this week alone. So I know what you're talking about, okay? We've got to get a handle on, and if there is going to be code enforcement in this city, there's got to be proper code. I think code enforcement could be expanded tremendously in this city, and it could be paid for by the tickets that were written properly, not against people who have stuff that are going on that haven't necessarily cut their grass this week as compared to last week, but have serious problems. But again, we can go part way with this. When you have an administration, and I sound like the broken record here, but we've got to work with the administration and deal with this from 2 sides. We've got our ideas, we've got our plans, we've got our issues. If we could at least come to the table and meet and compromise on some of this stuff, look, I said it last night, I mean it. And from what I understand, last night, and I shouldn't get into this too much, I got lambasted pretty well in a couple different places about being an obstructionist and being all kinds of things. I don't have anything personally against Mr. Yanuzzi at all. Anybody else. But I do have a problem with governance. I have a problem with the way things are going in this city. And I am not, and I shouted last time, and people got on my case for shouting. I don't care. Just like you, we get passionate about it. And I'm telling you right now, this panel up here, this council board, is attentive to your needs. And people like Sylvia, who just left, and others. We understand your frustration because I live it every single day. You know what? You've got to give us the opportunity to work, and people have to put pressure on the administration to come to the table at least and talk with us. If we could talk, we could settle some of these differences. I know that I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to get everything that I want, but the administration cannot sit there and say that they're not going to be willing to give in on anything either. Now, we've got to have something that's going to work and work for everybody. And I'm sure you understand that, and I'm sure you're willing to go along with that. But it's got to be fair for every single person in the community. Then it's a good community.
What's the process of getting him out of office, resignation or impeachment? Seriously.
You know what? I wish...
Dead serious.
I've studied this for years, John. I don't have an answer.
How many petitions, signatures? Is it? I mean, it is popular vote, right?
Unless there's a criminal offense, John, you're not getting them out unless you...
So we're stuck with this for another year.
Yeah.
We can't afford this 29% because, like Sylvia says, I'm really considering now putting my home up for sale, and we've been there since 1957.
No, you're not. But the only thing that I can tell you, I'm telling you, the only thing that I can do is what I've suggested already. And you know what? I think I think he would ignore it like he has us and everything else. But the simple fact is, if you think that there's a need to ask this individual to leave, the only way really is through embarrassment, and that's going to end up taking...
Can you embarrass yourself?
Well,
seriously,
I understand that, John, but you know what? Otherwise, what?
That's
you know what?
Embarrassing.
This is what's called you get what you vote for.
Okay.
I can't. I don't want to argue with you.
No,
but this is, you know what? And it was a fluke. We all know it. It was a fluke that he won. And now, the people, the 600 and some odd people that voted for him, you know what? I don't even think those people would be willing to vote for him right now. I'm sounding like I'm speaking against somebody. I'm not personally. This is governance. This is governance. Please understand. I don't have personal animals.
I will, John.
We'll take a look at it.
I will. We'll check into your problem.
That cite people that have a mess in places, and there's a lot of it. Look around. Just walk the area.
We will. We will, John.
I mean, don't be hitting the guy that's putting the improvement that's going to raise the taxes for their property.
I know, John.
I shall return.
Thank you, John.
There actually is, for some of the things that you've mentioned, some of the, and I don't want to go into it too far because I don't know much about it as of yet, but there is some rewording in codes that we can use in the city in code enforcement. If we change just a few words, it makes a big change that can actually get people who have damaged property or destroyed property to clean it up and to do things about it. And we can deal legally with them, but it's going to take some rewording of an ordinance to do that. And as soon as I get the information and council gets the information, we're going to it. Okay? So, but again, now there's something that I would have mentioned later, but I just got it tonight. And as soon as I get it, I'll share it with the rest of council. Yeah, I know that. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Go ahead, Dominic.
Dominic Tallarico, Garfield Street. The cameras at the Arthur Street Playground, are they functional?
At the
Arthur Street Playground? Where the school is, they paid to have them installed?
That would be a good question because there are a lot of cameras who are
I'm not sure,
problematic.
I'm not sure, Dominic.
Okay, well,
I heard there were some problems there, I think.
My property was tagged by gangs last night, as was a lot of other property, to include the playground, exclusively, I believe it was MS-13, but I can't swear to that. At any rate, first of all, as you could imagine, I'm feeling threatened. So I would like you to do something about the playground. I asked before to have it closed after dark, but that, for some reason, couldn't be done.
They're supposed to be closed after dark. We have an ordinance that we've passed.
Well, there's people in there. They sell drugs all night long. They do it in the parking lot. They do it at the playground. I've called several times. My business opened 3 days ago. They tagged it last night.
Congratulations. Oh, that's
So the gangs are apparently claiming my building as part of their turf, along with several other garages in the area.
Did you report that to the chief, Dominic?
It's been reported. Someone else called and they came and stopped and told me.
Please share that information with the state police at the troop headquarters as well. The state police in this area have a specialist in gang-related information. They'll be able to interpret it. They'll be able to get information, and if there's anything that they can do about it, at least in informing the local police as well, they can. So I would ask you to please share that with the state police.
Well, I intend to, and I was going to share it with the chief if he was here.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do. I realize there's 3 cops on duty at night, and you can't have somebody drive around the playground, but they've got to do something. Lock the gate, do something.
We were discussing that. We were discussing about putting fencing up and whatnot. I mean, if we can get money available for it. The city garage workers said they did it before, and they would be willing to do it now because they used to patrol at night when they would be out, you know, on their job and passing by and making sure that the playgrounds were secure and whatnot. And maybe that's what we need to do, get some assistance. Now, we did have cameras. I know they were installed on Pine Street and a few of the other playgrounds. I'm not sure if that's part of the problem that we had with our camera system, that the signals weren't going back and forth. But hopefully it's corrected, because, I mean, to me that was a big waste of money if we installed cameras and they're not being utilized.
I have a picture of the cameras that are installed. If you'd like to see them, I'll show them to you after the meeting. I knew they were installed. They had to take them off the poles because of PP&L or whatever. I was here for the meetings for that whole thing. I just don't know if they work. If they do work, whoever tagged my building tagged the playground 12 times. So you'll have their picture, because the cameras point right where they tagged. The thing is this: if it was kids, it would be one thing. I would have painted over it. But it's gangs.
Right.
So if they think they own the neighborhood, we got a problem.
And you're right.
I work late at night. I'm telling you now, I take this as a serious threat, and I'm armed. So when something happens, you've been made aware of it, just so you understand. I'm not threatening them, obviously, but they're threatening me, and I'm there till 10, 11 o'clock at night. They sell drugs right 100 yards away from me. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not a police officer, but I'm not going to...
So you reported that to the police?
I've called before, but, you know, what am I going to do? Keep calling them. They come, they see them drive up Arthur Street, and
The only
then
thing
they take
that you
off.
can do effectively is to continue to call, because at least they've got record of it, and at least then nobody can turn around and say, oh, excuse me, there were drugs sold at such and such a place today. You know what? If there's enough of a communication from you and other people up in that neighborhood who are seeing this, then that puts at least, and we need to have the police pressure to say, okay, there are problem areas in here. Alter Street's the same way. Alter Street's the same way.
Well,
again, I know what you're coming from.
With all due respect, though, they listen to the scanners just like we do. As soon as the car's dispatched, they take off. I watch them do it.
I brought that up
Problematic.
to Chief.
It is a problem.
I brought that up to Chief Ferdinand, years ago, about the scanners. And, I mean, they have bigger antennas than we do.
I mean, they have better equipment than probably the police do.
Yeah.
There's more of them by far. You have 3 cops on duty. They can't arrest somebody for something minor, or they have to sit and babysit them, and now there's 1 car driving around. I mean, it's insanity. The point is, what I'm saying is, it's getting worse right where I'm at. And I've been told by somebody that knows that this was MS-13. If that's what it is, I have to take it seriously, and that's why I'm talking to you about it. If it was just vandalism, I wouldn't even bother you with it. I've had my tires slashed and my stereo stolen, and I don't even say anything about it.
But David's correct, because we had a thing at Sylvia's Crime Watch.
and
The
he
state
was there.
police do come, and they do have a man available that addresses this particular
I have a friend who is
problem.
also a professor at King's in the criminal justice. You get me a picture, and I'll pick it on up, and I'll take it right up to him, and I'll guarantee you I'll be able to tell you the next day who it is and what they're trying to say in their whatever.
After the meeting, I'll email it to you. I have it on my
Please,
phone.
I'll give you my email.
There's one other thing, and it's not had to do with crime, but it is important to me. I know some of you know the ordeal I went through with meeting code for business, stuff like that.
Making it difficult.
It took me 3 months and tens of thousands of dollars to meet the code to open a business. I would just like to know, 15th Street is considered Hazleton, correct?
Right.
Well, there's a big orange building with a state inspection sign on it. It took them about 3 weeks to open it. It's been closed for about 10 years. They don't have handicapped accessible anything. So how are they in business? Because that's my competition. If I have to spend the money, don't you think that it's fair that they should have to also?
Rick, do they have a permit? They got a permit, the one on 15th Street? I saw that the other day. They got a zoning permit, and they have all their permits.
So they got an occupancy permit with a building, a business that was closed for 10 years, because after 1 year, you're supposed to meet current code. And I know all this because, believe me, I researched it.
Become an
Okay?
expert.
So how did they get an occupancy permit for an inspection station? And you can't transfer an inspection station from one location to another without having them come to inspect the building. I want to know how it's happening. Not that I would normally be the type of person to blow the whistle on anybody, but this is my competition.
Doesn't the state have to inspect that?
The state has to come and inspect it. I'm filling the packet out now. It takes a month to get them to come. So I would like to know how they got an occupancy permit from the city, because you can't use it if the building's been vacant for longer than a year, and it's been vacant for 10 years.
They went to zoning, Rick.
In other words, you're saying it's not grandfathered in, and I agree.
It's not grandfathered in.
I agree.
If it was, then mine should have been grandfathered in.
I know.
And I did. You know that I did what I had to do to make it right. So please look into that for me.
We will.
Okay. Thank
we
you.
will, John.
Thank
Thanks. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Teddy, you could make a comment.
Ted Sherrock, Hazleton. I wasn't going to stand up here. I had a wonderful evening. I just came from the Chamber Networking Mixer at a Diamond in downtown Hazleton, the Pines. Wonderful affair. You people wanted to see the mayor. He was there. But he's not here tonight.
Was there alcohol there?
Did he have a good time?
I don't want to get in. I don't want to get in trouble. I got to watch what I say. Dr. Sosar, last night you were chastised on one of the local TV stations by one of our hosts that I thought was way out of line. I thought he would be better of him.
I agree with you on that.
I was shocked. I was shocked. My main purpose is standing up here. I was elected Democrat committee man of the 3rd Ward of the city of Hazleton this last election. The strongest Republican ward in the city, and I'm a Democrat. And we brought in Dr. Sosar and Jim Mundy, and we won that ward. I'm a member of Leadership Hazleton, Silver Leadership Hazleton. I visit the core group, and I'm a mentor for the Junior Leadership Hazleton, talking to a lot of people. Right now, and Jeff, you should be aware of this because you already announced your candidacy for mayor, and there's at least 2 council people that may or may not run. Council is being blamed for this, everything in the city, and this, you're being looked at as fighting among yourselves. Other than these people sitting here, the general public out there doesn't know that it's the administration fighting you. They don't know that you're getting your agenda at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. The City Hall closes at 4 o'clock. It opens up at 9 o'clock Monday and you have a Tuesday meeting. They're asked to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars and you can't ask a question. I understand the mayor has your email blocked.
Mine.
Then he has the nerve to tell these people if they want to see him, come into my office from 9 to 5. Isn't he aware most people work from 8 to 5?
Thank you.
You know, it's bothering me that I come here meeting after meeting after meeting. I see you people, and I know what some of you are really going, the work you're putting in, the diligence that you're trying to do for the city, and you're being labeled as the bad guys, not the administration. And you're getting no help from the media. And last night was a classical example. That's the only reason I stood up here tonight, and I hope I don't get in trouble for it, but somebody has to speak up for council.
Thank you.
Somebody has to watch it, because the council's being the bad guy right now to the people out in the public that aren't taking the time to come here the way these people are. And you know, I applaud you for it, and I personally know the work that you're doing, and it's not right. Some way or another, it has to get out there that you're not the bad guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One thing quick.
Okay, go ahead, quick.
First of all, it wasn't brought up that we should remember that it's the 50th anniversary of Hazleton being named an All-American City. And are we still really an All-American City after being named that 50 years ago? And I think that was something that should have been brought up at the council meeting tonight. And the other thing is there a way we can make a petition that we formally ask that our section of Luzerne County be called Southern Luzerne County, not Lower Luzerne County, to be a derogative term to us? I think we need to make that at least do something to try to uplift our appearance to people.
Good suggestion.
Thank you,
you.
Norma. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, quickly.
Quick.
On Monday, I attended the county meeting, public hearing for the budget. They will be having a second public hearing here in Hazleton on December 2nd. It's tentatively set for the Career Center, but the venue can change. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that the county council will be meeting on December 2nd for the budget for the county. And they are expected to raise our taxes 4%. So let your voices be heard. We are not like the area to be shunned because we put in 30%, we pay 30% of the county budget. So let them know we matter. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Mark.
Mark.
Go ahead, John. You can make a comment.
Yeah, I know. The ever so opinionated one is at the microphone now. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak up, John Homer Hazleton. Just to reiterate, I'm in total agreement about the disgusting, disgraceful attitudes and actions of the three that are supposed to be here at every meeting. If there is such a petition, and I'm sure that there is one, I'll be very happy to sign, get the copies made, and I'll do the entire town.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from Junior Counsel? Any comment? Anybody could say anything?
Well, thank you again for having us tonight. It's a lot of things were brought up, and I don't know where to start. I wrote a lot of notes. Okay, well, up first I would like to say the microphone, please get it away a little bit from your mouth because I have really bad hearing. It's due to like the loud music that I like to hear, so I'm sorry about that. I need hearing aids, and if you would just like remove it so I could hear you better and speak a little slower, that'd be great. Also, I agree with this mister with the fedora hat. I think that bars should be closed at a certain time. I know that it might be against some rights that we have, but it would probably make us, I don't know, like maybe that could be avoided. Maybe if they were watched closely. I mean, like, I know we don't have enough police officers, or maybe we do. I'm barely starting to get into what's been going on in Hazleton, and I feel like I've been blinded because I don't read the newspaper because I can't, and this is definitely new for me. I didn't know how bad the situation was. I also agree with Judy. I know that if the taxes were increased 26%, I wouldn't be here anymore. I'd probably be living with my parents, yeah. No, my brother's down in Texas because my parents are both handicapped. My father's almost 80 next year, and my mother is like 63 now. I'm not going to ask them to get out of retirement to help me pay with everything. So 26% is stop. It's too high. I also think that that machine that you guys keep talking about, I would like to hear more about it. It sounds very interesting. And I know that by where I live, by Heights Terrace, the elementary middle school, a lot of the roads there are like really bad. Like they're the size of me. So if we could bring that out before winter starts, that would be great.
They're going to be able to do that all winter. It's a machine that could work in the cold. It mixes the old asphalt.
It
recycles old asphalt, and you put some kerosene and you heat it up, and it creates tar, which normally you can't get that after when it gets cold out. But this machine does that, and we got one of the bigger machines, so they'll be working all winter.
That's
fixing
fantastic,
our roads.
because in the winter you don't really see much, and then you hit a pothole and you're just like, hold on.
Trust me, I've had more car alignments than you can imagine. So.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Oh, John, he just left, but I had a cat problem too. Well, my parents, I was there, you know, and my father did complain a lot to the city, and they just told him to deal with it. So he did the only way we could. And it hurt me a lot because I'm an animal lover, but we had to exterminate them. We put food out, and it was poison. And it hurts me to say it still because I love animals, but it's what we had to do to get rid of them. And I agree with Ted. If I wasn't at these council meetings, if I hadn't heard from the people and from the council members themselves, I would have probably thought, council's terrible. Mayor Yanuzzi for life, you know? I'm serious, you know? Like the media, it makes us see what they want us to see. So I'm really glad that I'm partaking in this. And if the people that, agree with the media right away, they should come here and spend time knowing the real situation. And I'm glad that I got the awesome opportunity to be here.
We're trying to get some of our meetings filmed. That's why I have these cameras here, but I think my batteries ran out, all my cameras. But we're trying to get them filmed so we can put them on the local television station so people could know what's going on. But we're working on that. Thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So in the 2 meetings I've been here, it seems like the main 2 things it comes back to is the first is the extreme miscommunication between the city administration and the city council. And I think that's where all the problems, that's just what it's going back to. Is this lack of communication between the mayor and the administration and the council, who's actually trying to do something to help the city.
It's the mayor not wanting to communicate with us is the problem.
Yeah.
We're open for him to be here, talk to us, give us ideas, or come in and say his piece, but he's not here, and the solicitor and the administrator's not here, which is a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, the petition is, again, a great idea, and it's a way for people to voice their opinions and to hopefully resolve this, but in the case that the petition does not work, we need to be ready for a backup plan, and we need to be ready to find a way to at least attempt to compromise here. And it's a really serious issue, because if this tax hike goes into effect, it's really, really going to damage the middle and lower classes.
We know that. We know that.
With the police, when they go into a situation, a lot of times they have to double up because they don't know what they're going into. Something so simple as a loud party or something could turn into some kind of major incident. And although having more police would be nice, I did like the idea that was proposed by council of having part-time police or something like that, because it would just be too hard, and there needs to be, I think, more focus on the distribution of police officers in the area and dealing with the resources that we have rather than spending more money to get new resources. We need to deal with what we have first before we go spending any more money. And the last thing is, with the bars, are they BYOB places that are doing it?
Yes.
So if they were closed down, the only question I have is, there are a lot of hookah lounges and, BYOB places in Hazleton, and how that would affect the overall economy and revenue of the city if like they were all closed down. I don't know much about that though, so I don't know.
Well, we're not interested in closing down, just limiting the hours.
Yeah, I don't know what
the
effect.
problem is the late hours, and that could create problems, so that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I don't know what effect that could have on, the economics of the whole thing, but I'd be interested in hearing about that in the future.
Okay.
But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from
I
Junior
just
Counsel?
have one comment.
Go ahead.
I agree with what both of them said. Like they were brought up great points, but I think the person that I agreed honestly the most with was everything Judy had said, because where I live, the neighbors next to me, they have their fence torn down. They have a car hood. I don't know why. They have a car hood in their yard, and children play on it. And I know my little cousin who lives right next door to me had fell off of it and busted his head, and they wouldn't take any responsibility for it. So we did call health officials, and they just looked at it and didn't really do anything. So I don't feel like the people that keep their houses actually nice and presentable aren't getting anything out of it, because everybody that comes through Hazleton, all they see are the really bad houses.
Yeah.
And basically that's it. And the tax increase is crazy. All I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. We
I
agree.
just
Go
have
ahead.
one more thing to say. I'm really sorry. Dominic, what he said, it really interests me about the cameras. I live in Hazel Street, and I know that there's a park, Pine Street, and I like to take my nephews there, and I know it gets closed in the after, whatever. So when he said about the gang signs being painted, I was shocked, because I thought that they were all closed at a certain time. So why they were opened was
They're supposed to be, we have a curfew, but like you said, it's difficult, and maybe if we can incorporate help from any other departments when they're going through the city.
And I understand it's hard for council because, like Josh said, the miscommunication, and the three that are supposed to be sitting here aren't, and it gets me really aggravated. And I agree with, my name would be on there. Well, my father's name would be on there.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say something
Go
real
ahead.
quick? Just so the public understands, due to the cold in this room, we moved them over to this table so that they could plug in the heater, and our guests would not freeze tonight. So you benefited with the heat on this side. We have to get a longer extension cord. So, but actually, I like it that they're here, and I don't know if anybody else does, because when you're at your table, I can't hear what you're saying. So being that you're at a table with a microphone is beneficial, but I'm not sure if we could do this permanently.
Well, we'll see. Thank you. Any other comments from you guys?
These chairs are comfortable.
Okay. Comments from the council, Keith?
Okay, Dominic, I'll address you first. The cameras that are up there now work sometimes. Most of the times they do not. They're part of the old system. And we've had an issue with the person who was supposed to be maintaining them, and there's no money in a line item to fix them. So most of the time they're not working. The new camera system is supposed to be up and running by the beginning of December. Okay? You're welcome. I think that covers that one. One of the other things that I really wanted to talk about tonight that I didn't get a chance to was the Pango system with the meters for the whole city. And I did a lot more research on it over the last couple weeks, and I don't see how it would be bad for the city to have that, because there were going to be stickers on meters. The meters were not changing. If you needed to use the meter, you can put the quarters or dimes in the meters and still use it that way. With the Pango system, it was just a sticker on each meter, and if you had a smartphone and wanted to use the app, it didn't cost you any more money than what it would normally cost you to put the quarter in the meter, but if you didn't have any change on you, you can do that, which instead of someone saying, oh, well, I don't have any change, I'm just going to run in, they might have actually used the app then and put the money, and the city might have made more money. Also, the city would have been zoned in different zones, so if you're on one part of the street in the same zone and you had somewhere else to go and you were handicapped or had issues walking or getting, a couple blocks, you can drive there, still be in the same zone, and you don't have to put any more money in the meter because you're already paid. And if you were somewhere and wanted to, or you didn't have to go back to your meter if it was taking you longer, you can actually just get on your app and do that from wherever you were. So it would probably increase the revenue for the city, and it's not doing anything to what we have now. And the person that would go around that gives tickets, John, he would just have a little handheld device that he can run the license plate and see if it was paid or not. So I just don't see how it would be bad if, it's not taking away the meters. It's really just another avenue that people can pay for parking instead of having to carry change if you don't carry change, because we know a lot of people don't carry a lot of cash. I know I don't, and I usually don't have any change on me when I am going somewhere to pay for it. And we'd also probably be able to use it for like the Wyoming Street for parking there in the lot. So I really would have liked to talk about that, because I thought it, after doing the research, and in the beginning I was against it. I thought that we would not be able to use the meters and things that were being said, and then I researched it, and it was completely different, and I changed my mind. Another thing that has been happening the last couple months is that this council has been tabling ordinances and just letting them die instead of bringing it up. That kind of got me thinking about it with Pango tonight. And if you don't want something, or if you don't want to pass an ordinance, I would just ask that you at least remove it from the table and vote yes or no on it, and at least have, I guess, the intestinal fortitude to vote it down, and not just let it die so you don't have to actually say yes or no to something, so you don't have to explain yourselves. I would just rather say yes or no and vote on it that way. If you don't want it, at least let the public know that you don't want it, instead of just letting something die on the table. As far as something else that was brought up tonight was part-time officers. I can't see increasing our budget of 26%. And in reality, it's probably more of an increase than that, based on some other things that I was looking at. So obviously, probably 10 police officers are not going to happen. But just so everyone knows, and I don't know if this has been reported, but the part-time officers are still going to cause a tax increase. Whether they're part-time or full-time, we still have to pay them. And I think that, some full-time or some part-time officers should be used at least to augment some things. I don't know what a magic number would be as far as hiring full-time officers. Like Judy said, nothing's guaranteed. No matter how many we hire. If we hire 10 more, 20 more, 30 more, 40 more, nothing's guaranteed. You're always going to have criminals. You're always going to have crime no matter where you are. It's about being effective to catch those criminals so they don't stay out there, and they go behind bars. So I honestly don't know what a magic number with part-time officers would be. I think that definitely a few of them can help in a lot of instances, but we also have to, figure out how much we're going to spend on them too, because they're going to cause an increase in taxes. So, thank everyone coming out tonight. At least it's not super cold yet in here. It's not February. Everybody have a good rest of your week.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, since you brought up Pango, I might as well say something too. I actually changed my mind and I was in favor of it also. However, after going through the contract that the mayor had, there was 6 zones that there's no parking allowed on now that he had zoned, which was my problem. And I did talk to Jim Davis from Pango today. He called me. But I kind of took an offensive last night. The mayor was on TV and said none of us, after tabling last week, even contacted anybody to do research on this. So
Yeah.
I know I did, and
Yeah, and so did I, so. Yeah.
so I just thought it was kind of a thing that he said that on
Oh,
TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like him saying that he never told the solicitor not to come, so.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, I promised the people in the Heights that I would bring up the 520 and 522 Poplar Street every meeting until somebody goes and addresses it. So check that off. And then now the budget schedule is kind of my main concern here.
Rick is here.
Oh.
Maybe you can ask him.
There's nothing that's
About what?
the Poplar Street.
Go ahead, 520, 522. Anything going on there, Rick, or what? On hold, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I know. I just said I would think because I guess that's the new McKinley Street, the hot topic up there. Now the budget, the timeline for the budget will be a little bit shorter than we had last year. So I'm trying to figure out mathematically what we need to do. And it looks like we should really have a work session next week on Tuesday, so we could have a first reading on the 18th, which would give us the 20 days of advertising and bring us to the 9th, where we should have another work session. In case anything needs to be changed, we still have the time frame to the 23rd, where we could have a third reading, and everything would fall into place with our advertisings, which I just don't want to run into the same problem we had last year. So I think we should think ahead here and work backwards.
Okay, we don't have anything scheduled for next Tuesday.
No, next Tuesday we have nothing.
We have no meeting next Tuesday.
No, but
Well, we'll check, we'll check with that, yeah,
but she would have to advertise it or work because today's Wednesday, so she would have to advertise that tomorrow or
No, Friday?
Friday.
Friday.
Advertise
Yeah, we'll
for the work
Get a
session.
note out, check and see if everybody's
We'll
scheduled.
Because
that
I
out.
honestly, that's
That
because of the way the holidays fall. Because City Hall, I believe, is closed on the 31st, correct? New Year's Eve?
No,
No? Okay.
but next Tuesday we are closed for Veterans Day, so that's not going to work.
That's right, we have Veterans Day.
Okay.
We'll
Then it would have to be, I'll be away. I'm going away next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So then we would have to do something. Or worst case scenario, we would go 18th, 25th, 16th, and then go right to the 30th of December with our timeline. But I mean, we can't really put it off. Because I know the mayor said also last night on TV that he's planning on calling for a work session. And I just don't trust him with his timeline. Like last year, January 16th, Thursday night meeting kind of threw everything off and made us pass our deadline.
I asked Tom Pabula today to get us notice when we're going to receive the audit, whether it's the final draft or final audit altogether. So he sent an email out. He said that he was, the discussions with Moore are over, so it should be coming out shortly. Because in order to do the budget, it's beneficial to have the audit, which is something we never have.
Absolutely it is. It's just a matter of running out of time again. Because the first one, the 20 days in between.
I'm not arguing, but I'm just saying hopefully we will see an audit very shortly.
We could also use that in between second and third reading if needed, because you only need the 10 days in between. It's the first 20 that I'm kind of concerned about. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure something, or how about a Monday then instead of Tuesday?
Monday,
Is that a bad day?
why don't you send it on out? Monday is okay for me, that's fine. It would depend upon everybody else. I'm in the same boat as Jeff. I'm looking at next week, and on Wednesday through Saturday, I've got a conference, so I'll be traveling.
Well,
So,
you want to
we
do
can
it
do
for
it on
Monday?
Monday.
If we
Is
could,
that a-
do,
is
if we
that
could
a
do
good-
Monday,
good for you?
if we could do Monday the 10th.
Is that okay with you, Keith?
Yeah, I'm okay Monday the 10th. While we're on this, December 16th, if we can change that council meeting, David, that would be awesome.
Okay, we'll.
If you want to talk about that, I am getting surgery. I won't be here that day. Like, I'm getting surgery that day.
Well, the 16th, we would actually would need that meeting because we would go with the 9th and the 23rd with a 10-day break. So we could change the 16th meeting right to the 9th.
Okay.
Or the 23rd, actually.
Okay.
Time-wise. Because the 16th meeting, if anything...
It's in the middle of nothing, basically.
We'd be able to...
Yeah.
Maybe we won't even need it. Maybe we won't even have a meeting, Keith.
Okay. I'm just telling you that I won't be here. Like, there's no way on the planet that I can be here.
No, I want to write no Keith here.
Wait a minute.
This plan would take us to the 23rd of December,
For
which,
the last reading.
if it was an emergency, we can go through over the Christmas holiday. But
Yeah, you still got.
If
you've
we
still
had
got
to.
the 29th and the 30th if
So
worst
this-
came to
if
worst.
worst case scenario.
Jeff is making the turkey this year.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Should we
Okay, so Monday.
let's set up a work session
Work session for Monday.
and send
Well,
the...
let's have a work session and meeting anyway, in case we have to do something.
Yes, works. Okay, we
You
can
know,
have-
maybe by then we'll have the lease straightened out, and we could do that.
Okay.
That'd be
Yeah.
fine.
Can we,
Let's do that.
do we have to send out the agenda then? There's no time for an agenda. Do we have to have a new
What?
agenda, or could it just be old business?
It would be old
Just old business.
Just old
So
business.
it wouldn't be a new agenda.
And if you wanted to, you could have the work session as a work session and a special meeting just to do.
Yeah, just a special
Just to
meeting.
do
The lease.
The lease.
Got that, Lisa?
No.
Okay.
We're gonna have a work session.
Monday, November 10th. Next Monday, we're going to have a work session, 6 o'clock,
We're going to have a special meeting
followed
for
by a meeting to take care of the
lease agreement.
parking authority lease,
Not parking.
the parking garage lease. And then we would be able to keep the 18th as a meeting, the 9th, and then go to the 9th with a meeting. We can move the meeting that would be on we could do that later, we have time.
Yeah.
But the
That's
2nd and the
fine. That's
16th
fine.
would just get bumped to one, because they're
Okay.
20 days.
Okay. Good.
Okay, that's good, Jeff. Okay.
Then I
Anything
guess,
else?
no, I guess all our budget information we could talk about next week. There's no reason to go into that, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. You want to go, or who wants to?
It doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to address some of the things that were said, and John's not here. But Mr. Tarantino is. In 2006, I believe it was, sometime in that time period, I brought up to council the constables to bring them in to supplement the police department, because you had the umbrella of the city's insurance and whatnot, and you had the capabilities to
Because we're all trained.
enhance them. All right.
Each constable goes through an initial training of 70 hours by the state and a refresher of 10 hours every year. And then you are also required to have your own liability insurance. So each individual constable would have his own liability insurance. So basically, you just come out with a per diem rate for him to work on. Each assignment would be a specific pay. If he was writing tickets, he would get so much per ticket, or a transportation fee, plus a mileage rate if he was taking a prisoner back and forth to Wilkes-Barre. So that would be something that I think could be worked out and be very reasonable, very negotiable with the constables.
Well, and once again, I think it needs to be taken a look at again. I had brought it up. I believe Jack voted for it. I believe Tommy Gabus voted for it, and the rest of council didn't. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. The mayor was adamant about it. And so now we're in this predicament where we could have had you on board, giving us help all this time.
And the thing is, then they're I don't know offhand how many wards or voting districts we have now in the city since they've been condensed, but each voting ward has one elected constable.
Right.
That's for a 6-year
8.
period.
There are 8.
Now,
What?
There are 8.
8?
8 wards.
8 words.
There's a 10th ward that votes here, so it has to be more than 10.
No, you have 2 downstairs.
Yeah.
But there are 8 across the city right now. They condensed it from the 25 that we used to have, and they brought it down to 8 across the city.
Wards, yeah.
Yeah.
So each constable can also have a deputy that can be appointed through the through the county. So you basically could have 16 people that could work as constables if that would be decided. Because there's a lot of things that we could do, even just to help supplement writing tickets and things like that would take some of the pressure off and allow officers to do different things. Let us, since there's no parking authority, who's writing the traffic tickets for the city. I mean, should the police have more time, things to do than just write those tickets? So that's the perfect job for the constables.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, and then that time period and time frame, and I know Dominic was worried with his neighborhood and whatnot. Sylvia, this has been an ongoing issue about the neighborhoods. And if Paul Katner was still here, but Rick was around at the time, I started coming to council meetings, and one of the major complaints I had was the landlords from out of state and the properties and the conditions of the properties and whatnot. What prompted me to come was, and because I live in the Heights, they think we don't have crime. And we do, just not as prevalent as you, but we have it. My son was grilling a hamburger on the grill, and a guy shot a gun off in the next yard, and the bullet hole is still in my garage. My son could have got killed. So at that point, I took it upon myself, because I had one of those properties that everybody complains about that is unkept, drug sales. I've had a stabbing in front of that house. I've gone through a multitude of things, and Rick can verify this. He knows which property it is. And so I have the same feelings and insight that you people have and know what you are dealing with. And trust me, I've tried my best from around 2006 when I started. And I've been on this ever since. Paul Katner, while he was here, helped me tremendously. Rick did. They came up to the property with the fire department up there. I had so many incidents with that one piece of property, so like I said, I can speak on behalf of you people. The other thing I wanted to bring up was right before I came here, I had a phone call, and this lady is 78 years old to be soon, and her problem that she had was, how am I going to pay this tax increase? All right. She doesn't know where she's going to turn, and at 78 years old, she's looking to find a part-time job. All right. This has hurt the older people in our city on fixed incomes. It's hurt the people on disability in our city on fixed incomes. It's hurt the young couples in our city that are just starting out with small children. All right. And we have to find different ways. We can't sustain our city with raising taxes on a constant basis. We need police, but we have to find alternatives, whether it's part-time. And yes, part-time would cost an increase, but not a substantial increase like a full-time officer would, because of the benefits that are involved with a full-time officer. So we're going to have to really work on this and think out of the box. Maybe constables can complement part-time, combinations, whatever it takes. Also, the Pango Agreement. And yes, we didn't get to talk about it tonight. I had looked over it thoroughly. One of the things I didn't like about it, and Jeff was right, it had areas in there that weren't officially designated as parking spaces. Secondly, when you use Pango, and it is convenient, it's wonderful for people who have smartphones, all right? But city parking is public parking, and it should be available to everybody. And that was my feeling on this, because if the parking garage utilizes it because they're not using meters and they're not using an attendant like they had, then the parking spaces that were going to be available to the public would only be available to the public that had the smartphones and the ability to use them. So that being said, I believe public parking should be for all the public. And until we come up with a better solution that we can deal with this, whether it's a ticket that comes out or whatever it is, but we have to be able to accommodate all of our public. And I'd like to thank the Junior Council members. And you're not going to like this statement because it's an old cliche, out of the mouths of babes. And yous aren't babies, yous don't want to be considered that anymore. but it means that sometimes no truer words were spoken than from the youth, because you see things in a different perspective than most people. And I'm glad you're here and seeing things that are going on firsthand. It will be a lesson that you will take through life with you, all right? You'll often think back if you get into a situation or you're in an area where you move to and you're facing similar adversity, or whether you choose to become politically involved or a lawyer or whatever. You can take these lessons with you. And if there's any questions that you ever have, always feel free to contact us, even if it's through Lisa. My phone number's in the book, my email's out, you can have it, you know, anytime you want to ask a question. We're available. I'm sure the other council members will say as well. I'd like to thank the public at this time for coming. Dominic, I hope your problem is taken care of. Keep me posted on that, please, okay? I hope we can come to a happy conclusion and work together and see what we can do with this budget and the tax increase that the mayor is proposing. Hopefully we can do something to soften it or eliminate it altogether. Thanks again for your words of encouragement, Teddy. I appreciate the fact that you said the right things, because we are being bashed and it's uncalled for. We do our best and we do our homework. And if we table something, it's usually because we didn't get information, all right? I need to have an opinion sometimes from the solicitor. I need to get something from the administrator. And a lot of times it's not available, and you're right, we do get it on a short schedule from Friday, and that's not Lisa's fault. Sometimes we run into a holiday on a Monday, which takes the availability away. But I will not vote on anything, ever, unless I'm fully informed. So thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump in one more second.
Go
Lisa,
ahead.
can you make sure you send a memo to the mayor tomorrow that we're having a work session on Monday? Thank you.
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Junior Counsel, for being here and your comments. They really are important for us to hear, and they're rather insightful. Just a couple things, and we'll get into the budget certainly a lot more on Monday. I was investigating that a little bit over the weekend, and from newspaper reports that were written about it. One of the things that's not even in the 26% increase, and you heard a couple people comment on this tonight, it's really a little bit over 30%, because if you take the sewer stormwater fee, that's $25, that's an additional $250,000 increase right there, because the average would bring in about $100,000 a year. So it really brings it on up to about a 30% increase, or a little bit more than that, because that's rough math. That's why I teach political science. But the fact is that there are some issues, and I think there are issues that we do need to deal with. Now, Jeannie talked to you tonight about an elderly woman that she spoke to, an elderly woman who is receiving 1.2% Social Security increase cost of living this year, 1.2%. And yet, the mayor is interested in giving department heads in particular, the non-union personnel, which we tried to reduce parts of their salary by a small percentage last year, and he refused and increased them. And now this year he's talking about a 3% increase. A 3% increase to people who are receiving $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 salaries at a time when a person on Social Security is receiving 1.2% increase. That doesn't work. And you can understand why all of us up here, I'm sure, have received quite a bit of phone calls already about a budget and the budget problems. Yes, the city has its expenses, and we realize that. But we do have to live within our means. We do have to try, like every family, Sometimes you do borrow from Peter to pay Paul. Sometimes you do take from one cup of money to another cup of money that that you were saving for because some emergency comes on up. But the city has to deal with these issues and deal with them realistically. I'm ready to sit down not only with all the council members but with the mayor if he ever would be willing to come, and Mr. Prabula. And I'm not even going to go there, and I'm not going to put you on the spot tonight, Jeff, but the fact of the matter is that some of the things that I've heard about willing to attend or not attend meetings, I just don't go for. And we've seen it time and time and time again. So I thank you for coming. I'm interested in getting into the budget and deal with that. And with that, I'll say good night and thank you. And I've got papers up here if anybody wants to sign.
Thank you, Dr. Sosar. I just have one or two quick things. We had an executive session earlier before the meeting concerning litigation. I have to go to a mediator tomorrow, so that's what we talked about. The other thing about, I'll just make one comment about the Pango. My problem with I saw the demonstration and I think a lot of young people will take advantage of it, and even some of the senior citizens who are savvy and have smartphones would use it. My problem with it, though, is the mayor, once we sign that contract, the mayor does what he wants. He's going to put it where he wants, and like Jeannie said, he'll put it where there's no meters and you have no choice. So that's my main problem with it. If that could be fixed, I would vote for it maybe. If we could be assured that it's not going to be, where there's no meters. I want people to be able to, if there's a meter there, they have a choice, and as long as you have a choice, you could either put money in the meter or use the application, the smartphone. But I don't think the mayor would agree to that. The other thing I wanted to say is, this afternoon I got a call from our council solicitor, Mr. DeCosmo, and said that we won our suit with the mayor. So that's good news. I think the mayor is going to maybe come around and start listening to council and maybe doing what we have, because if he doesn't, we could file a mandamus action, and with that, they could put some serious sanctions on the mayor and possibly things he wouldn't like. So it's good news, and I think I knew we would win. It was just a matter of when, and I think the mayor will start, believing that the way this government works is, the mayor proposes a budget. Council sets the limits in the spending and watches over that spending. That's our job. Our job isn't just to legislate and make laws. Our job is to keep an eye on the finances of the city and make sure that the money is spent where it should be, and to make sure that the mayor follows a budget. So I think that's good news, and hopefully the mayor will sit down with us and he'll see things our way, and our way doesn't include a 26% tax increase. And I know there's ways that we could find, to get more police and find other ways to raise the revenue. I know we have an agreement with the HCA. It's a master services agreement where we could go and we're allowed to take 80% of the profits of a business that we're in with them, and I think they could help us. We just might have to wait till after the first of the year. The other last thing, Teddy, I just want to get to you. I agree with you. The host of that TV show was totally wrong in blasting Dave about his petition. I think a mayor that doesn't attend the meetings and doesn't send the solicitor or the city manager should resign, should have a petition signed against him. And I think that host of that show was totally wrong, and he was totally biased because the person who he said that was from a rival station. So I think there was some that has to do with ratings and rivalries between other networks. So I think and I agree with you 100%. As far as people, I see a lot of people at breakfast, and yeah, they see that we're fighting the mayor, but we're fighting the mayor because we're for the taxpayers. The mayor doesn't care about the taxpayers. He just wants to raise rates to where Easton's is. I don't know why, but that's what he told me. When he first wanted to raise taxes 83%, I said, you're going to chase everybody out of town. His comment was, well, Easton's taxes are lower than ours. I said, I don't care about Easton. That's what he said. But our fighting with the mayor is about fighting for the taxpayer, and if people want me not to fight to give in, I don't think that they want that. They don't want me to give in to the mayor and say, okay, we're going to agree to your tax increase. So I'll keep fighting until I'm not in office and they can vote me out. I don't care. And I don't care what people think. I'm going to do what's right for Hazleton, and I don't care what the popular thing to do is. I'm going to do what's right for the residents of this city, always.
Jack, the only one that hearing that are the people here.
Yeah, I know, but I talk to people at breakfast, and you're right. There's some people who are blinded by a lot of things who maybe believe that. And I watched the shows, both of them. I switched between both of them, and I saw what both of them were saying. The both hosts were saying that the mayor's fighting with council, and the mayor's not here to fight with us even. So he's not fighting with us. He's not here. He doesn't care enough about this city to be here to answer questions and to care about the city. But I don't really care that he comes to the meetings. What I care about is the solicitor and the administrator. They should be here to answer questions. I could care less whether he's here or not. But being that, I think things are going to change, and I think this is good for the city. This rules in our favor that the mayor should not have even filed this lawsuit. We won this lawsuit, and hopefully it'll get the mayor to sit down and talk to us, or maybe instead of a petition, a judge will put him in jail. At that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Well,
I can't get up. I can't get up. Stuck to the chair.
Oh, he is ready to sign it. He is ready.